Welcome everyone to this webinar entitled Put Your Smart Factory Projects into Overdrive. I'm your host, Fred Holohan, and in the next hour, we will provide you with a reference model for smart factory technologies, discuss software and service offerings that can accelerate your digital factory initiatives, and briefly demonstrate how leading partners are collaborating today to implement high-value manufacturing intelligence applications. Let's get started. Your speakers today are each experts in their respective domains. Charlene Solomon is a lead solutions consultant on the Ops Center team at Siemens. Eddie Budgen is Edge2Web's customer and partner success leader. And Luciano Canalini is Engineering USA's delivery manager for digital factory initiatives. This slide offers a reference model that identifies key smart factory technology tiers. Most manufacturers have implemented core technologies that support automation, execution, ERP, and so forth. Although these technologies drive operational execution, they do not typically provide performance insights across stations, lines, plants, and multi-site operations. Charlene will explain how MOM solutions generally, and Siemens Ops Center specifically, can be used to acquire and integrate data from core systems, compute OEE and other KPIs, and gain visibility into the performance of machines, lines, and plants across the enterprise. Eddie will explain how new industrial IoT technologies, Siemens MindSphere and Edge2Web, can be used to acquire critical performance data from Ops Center and other factory systems and enable the creation of new custom apps using that data. He'll also give us a brief demo that shows integration between Ops Center and MindSphere and Edge2Web. Luciano will explain how the technologies under discussion are being used today to quickly deliver new digital apps for internal factory users and also to deliver new digital services along with equipment to customers and ecosystem partners. Although this reference model discusses specific brands and products, our goal is to suggest the classes of technologies to help you understand what's possible today, rather than to pitch specific solutions. With that as an introduction, I'll turn the discussion over to Charlene for a manufacturing intelligence and Ops Center overview.
Thank you, Fred. So let's take a look closely at the bottom half of this reference model that we have here. We know that smart factories today already comprise of a wide variety of smart equipment and machines, whether it's CNC machines, high-speed packaging lines, or 3D printers. These machines are all churning out vast amount of data at a rate faster than we know what to do with. In the case of older equipment, edge devices can easily and cost-effectively make these equipment smarter by bridging the gap to expose the relevant data. Looking at our traditional SCADA and MES applications, they too are a treasure trove of data that retains information about alerts, process violations, and machine settings for optimal production. Integrated ERP systems provide the vital link between shop floor and financial transactions. But how do we use all of these systems and applications to weave a digital thread that allows us to reap the benefits of implementing these smart factory projects? How do we put these smart factory projects into overdrive? Our team of Siemens Engineering USA and Edge2Web believe this smart factory reference model puts all the right pieces of the puzzle into place, into making this a reality. At the foundation of this model is Siemens Ops Center for Manufacturing Intelligence and Siemens IoT platform MindSphere for shop floor connectivity. They bring together various data sources, whether it is directly from smart machines through edge devices or from their diverse array of site execution applications. Let's take a closer look at Ops Center Intelligence. This is a Siemens solution for manufacturing intelligence that brings together all aspects of a company's data, which of course includes elements of the Siemens Ops Center manufacturing operations management portfolio. Advanced planning and scheduling with Ops Center APS, manufacturing execution systems with Ops Center Execution, quality data through Ops Center Quality and RDNL for specification management and laboratory data, as well as IoT data through MindSphere, like we saw earlier in our reference model. Ops Center Intelligence is also open to retrieving and storing data from third-party and legacy systems, giving you the flexibility to build the intelligence model that fits into your organization's existing and I'm sure ever evolving architecture. Regardless of the source though, the goal is to transform data into smart data that will give you the ability to make better decisions using accurate, real-time, and contextualized data. Smart data is collaborative and integrated, putting machine data that can be ingested as fast as milliseconds together with transactions of what is being manufactured right now on the shop floor. This collaboration is key to gaining insights into manufacturing operations that were traditionally difficult and time-consuming to piece together. Our approach to managing enterprise manufacturing intelligence is to move data collected locally at each site to a cloud storage facility so that fast, big data can be transformed into smart data as it is connected to the various data sources. The cloud-based approach provides a quick implementation for global visibility, as well as the ability to improve quality and performances, KPIs, through the context provided by the various digital streams. KPIs are also improved through line and site comparisons across the entire enterprise. As we have discussed, manufacturing data has many sources, MES, shop floor, and a myriad of third-party legacy systems. Connecting to these various sources is only one part of the manufacturing intelligence story. Once connected, you are able to have a real-time view into the production facility of how well it's performing and functioning. This allows us to make tactical decisions based on what's currently happening right now. And knowing what is currently happening allows us to react to the current performance and rectify situations. Connection alone, however, is not enough. We need to contextualize the relevant data by putting production and order data together with real-time machine data and process data. This means, for example, having the ability to understand that components supplied by supplier X are currently being used in a particular machine type that is performing poorly right now. This example shows us how insights can be used to improve processes in terms of what materials, for example, should be used on which machine types. It also shows us how to improve processes at a single site or at a single machine. Having the ability to access all this data from various sites gives us the ability to correlate, compare, and come up with insights that were not possible with a single site view. What if supplier X is supplying components to 6 out of your 15 facilities, and these 6 seem to be your low performers? Now the enterprise has the ability to make strategic decisions to improve the entire process, like insist on more rigorous quality checks for all the components from supplier X. By comparing KPIs of sites and having the ability to drill down into root causes and differences in each site, companies have tools to enable them to learn from high-performing sites and apply lessons learned to improve processes at other sites. Connect and contextualize are key components of our manufacturing intelligence model. Let's take a look at asset performance as part of manufacturing intelligence. The engineering of a solution requires configuration of a time model to match your organization and equipment's productive time, machine downtime reasons, counters, cycle times, as well as flexible KPI formula management. The solution provides the ability to use industry standard KPIs such as OEE, as well as manage enterprise-specific KPIs. The solution connects to various data sources for both real-time data as well as transactional data, so that the various pieces of information come together to provide the relevant context to the data that you're looking at. Our reference model uses MindSphere as a data source for all the real-time machine data. And as mentioned previously, the transactional data can be sourced from the OpCenter portfolio or any other third-party and legacy system. The solution provides the ability to monitor in real time the KPIs configured by asset, line, or site. This gives everyone from the shop floor users, supervisors, managers, and executives visibility into the same production performance information based on the latest data available. Having real-time operational visibility allows for faster response times and improved production processes. We will be taking a look at other options for monitoring and operational visibility with the Edge2Web applications later. We find that key performance indicators like OEE, which of course is an industry standard, is not necessarily used in the same way in all industries or companies, or they're even sometimes different at different sites of the same organization. Although in some cases, these differences might be necessary, Our tools aimed to standardize on KPIs. This allows us to have a true apples-to-apples comparison when comparing assets, equipment, lines, or even sites. Configuration of formulas is done through the tool with a formula editor in a simplified view or a more advanced view that can be used to create complex formulas, ensuring that each organization's KPIs can be configured in the way that they need to be. Once KPIs are configured and data is connected, real-time and continuous monitoring can start. The user has the ability to view all the KPIs being calculated on the real-time data. And furthermore, reports and dashboards can be published on a regular basis to keep all parties informed with email notifications, which can be sent out based on the data being monitored. After real-time monitoring comes historical analysis, as raw data, context data, and calculated data, which are the KPIs, are all stored, and users can now create their own analysis with self-service tools. The tools provided can access all the different types of data using drag and drop methods for dashboards, which can be created to contain information that can be looked at every day and shared amongst the relevant users. Or the tools can be used to perform analysis, digging down into specific issues. Machine learning insights bring out-of-the-box machine learning capabilities to help you uncover deeper insights into your manufacturing data. For example, you can discover hidden data trends, identify key business drivers, forecast future results, and summarize your data in easy-to-read, natural language narratives, saving hours of manual analysis and investigation. You can build comprehensive business intelligence solutions that integrate out-of-the-box machine learning and distributed interactive dashboards to relevant users in your organization. Machine learning insights makes machine learning easier, allowing anyone, regardless of their technical skill, to easily get insights from their data in minutes rather than weeks. There are three important features of machine learning insights. Machine learning powered anomaly detection to uncover hidden insights by continuously analyzing billions of data points and automatically providing alerts on these anomalies. Machine learning powered forecasting to predict growth and business trends with point and click simplicity, and auto narratives to tell customers the story of their dashboard using plain language narratives. Here we have a dashboard that quickly identifies improved KPIs comparing to previous periods, as well as shows an example of trend forecasting with its estimated probability. So now not only do we have the platform that brings the various pieces of data together, we also have a platform that has behind it the computing power to perform the number crunching necessary that takes all that big, fast data and ultimately generates the insights and detects the anomalies for us. To summarize, OpCenter Intelligence is an enterprise-wide manufacturing intelligence tool that provides the foundation for global visibility into your contextualized and calculated smart data. OpCenter Intelligence sets the stage for going further in your smart factory journey, which Eddie is now going to discuss as he delves into the IoT and integration layers of our reference model, along with a brief demo. Eddie?
Before I introduce Edge2Web and jump into a brief demonstration, let me describe a brief overview of Siemens MindSphere IoT platform as the foundation of the IoT data-driven applications we're discussing today. Working from the bottom, you'll see that MindSphere includes core data acquisition and storage capabilities, offering hardware and software methods to bring your real-time shop floor and process data into the platform from both Siemens and non-Siemens automation-equipped machines. You can employ both wired and wireless technologies to do this. Once ingested, there's a strong suite of configurable and extensible analytical services for anomalies, trends, and events, providing built-in analytical algorithms, plus the ability to use your own custom analysis model. Core application components for the management of basic viewing of assets, time series, and events are also provided. And finally, an extensive portfolio of secure service APIs for building custom applications using this data, along with off-the-shelf applications for specific goals, is also available. At the top of the diagram, you can see that Edge2Web is used to build custom applications that interact with MindSphere using these secure APIs. So who is Edge2Web? We're an independent software company based in the northeast of the United States, with offices also in London. Based on an innovative IoT architecture, our products help industrial companies to visualize and integrate data from platforms like Siemens MindSphere and OpCenter to support a wide range of integrated applications that were not previously possible with each product alone. We collaborate very closely with partners like Siemens and Engineering USA to accelerate smart factory and other high-value industrial initiatives. Edge2Web currently offers 2 commercial products, both very deeply integrated with Siemens MindSphere and OpCenter, leveraging both their security profiles and bidirectional data services. FlowServer is used to perform simple and complex server-side data orchestration and processing tasks, including manufacturing systems integration, which we'll see in a little later, execution of analytics and machine learning services, along with continuous operational monitoring with rules and events processing for potential notification applications. Director is used to visualize and interact with machine and process data using a wide range of industrial visual renderings that enable applications to offer a high level of user interactivity, including configuration of user pages and direct data updates against the back-end data environments. Edge2Web products are based on a learn once, use everywhere model, meaning that a one-time investment in learning can be leveraged across a wide range of applications. For example, a user building a machine monitoring dashboard with Director is equally prepared and experienced to build a data integration application with external systems using FlowServer and vice versa. Edge2Web's platform-native architecture ensures that user data is highly secure and that application usage can scale easily to thousands of users. We'll see both FlowServer and Director in use in the demo in a moment. This slide identifies 3 of the companies that are actively implementing smart factory applications today using Siemens, Engineering USA, and Edge2Web solutions. Each of these companies is looking to gain deeper insights into the machine and production operations to improve product quality, reduce unplanned downtimes, and optimize performance across multi-site operations. The food and beverage manufacturer is focused on sophisticated rules configuration and processing to provide prescriptive actions to operators on site in the case of anomalies, and to then retrieve the operator feedback to further review and analyze the corrective actions to improve the behavior of the whole operation. This will be assisted both by engineering experience, skilled people on the shop floor, as well as with machine learning algorithms in the background. The consumer packaged goods project is initially focused on KPI and OEE dashboards to monitor both operational and cost-based performance. User self-configured dashboards will be created and saved to offer a highly personalized view of relevant dashboards for each individual user or group of users. Two-way integration of MindSphere and OpCenter data services underpins the entire application. The aerospace example, again, is focused on KPI and OEE dashboards, but for monitoring operational data from CNC production environments. Integration with ERP and MES-based systems will provide a more holistic view of overall performance improvements to the business. A quick look at how OpCenter Intelligence, the MOM tier in our reference model, can be integrated with MindSphere and Edge2Web at the IoT tier to deliver a new high-value digital factory application. This slide represents a high-level roadmap of the demonstration architecture we'll see in a moment. Working from left to right, Edge2Web FlowServer is running in the background to do 3 primary tasks. It's actually generating the data that drives our demo app, which is a batch chemical production process in this case. The generated data is fed into MindSphere using its IoT API services. FlowServer is continually monitoring the time series data against pre-configured operational models for anomaly detection and creating customized events for out-of-band incidents. Simultaneously, OpCenter Intelligence is being queried for live OEE KPI data, which is then stored in a MindSphere time series for later visualization and trend analysis. MindSphere stores all of this data and provides the platform for application queries and updates. Edge2Web Director builds on this to provide read and write access to all the data stored in MindSphere, including the OEE time series that originated in OpCenter, as well as integration with live OEE KPI values from the OpCenter itself. At this point, I'll move into the demonstration. One moment. We're now in a live application running on the MindSphere platform interacting between Op Center Intelligence and MindSphere and Edge2Web. This is a very common initial dashboard at the highest level for multi-site operations that provides both geographical reference for where sites might be, but also indicates the particular state at the highest level. Notice the color may change on some of these icons. Typically, this provides some overall view of what a plant might be. In our particular case, a very simple description with a picture and drill down capability to move into the site itself. Depending on the hierarchy and the level of detail that you may wish to offer, you can also represent additional levels of the hierarchy using pictorial forms. In this case, a plant map of the site where we have located and state indicators for the specific reactors that we're operating on. In each case, you can represent the data at every level with specific data from either MindSphere or Op Center or the combined two. In this case, we have a mini dashboard representing data for one of the reactors and the ability to further drill down should we wish to. For the demonstration, this will be the lowest level, but you can create multiple levels and multiple directions for users to navigate. This is a more traditional dashboard representing operational data extracted from MindSphere with the ability for the user to interact with the dashboard in multiple places, potentially choosing various timeframes to view the data, selecting additional fleet information from sibling reactors in this particular environment, such as reactor 55-1, as we should move to, and also in our case, extracting data from MindSphere in a tabular form to view events that have been recorded and generated in the background with Flow Server, accessing the time series data and comparing it against operational models for anomalies, and then creating the relevant events. If so desired, it's also possible to provide the user with the ability to interact directly with these events, not only to view them, but potentially, in our case, to acknowledge them or delete them. In that case, we will just acknowledge the events. And this information is then written directly back to MindSphere and adjusted onto any of the overlays that may represent event information. In this particular dashboard, we've also pulled directly from Op Center some of the key KPIs for the asset and pulled them into the dashboard. In fact, there's no technical limitation for presenting data from multiple data sources at different frequencies onto a single page. So in our case, we have two data sources, mainly MindSphere with some from Op Center, but this could also be from other environments as well. Moving away from the operational dashboard, let me jump into OEE dashboard. This has been modeled in collaboration with the Siemens Op Center team to represent an interesting view of OEE related data, which is in fact sourced from MindSphere. As Shani had indicated, one of the sources for Op Center can be MindSphere. Here we can see other visual representations of current values of data, whether they be the counters for good or speed, or some context information for work order and so forth, as well as the KPIs. We can provide and continue to provide trend information, such as trend over the good and scrap. Other trends, in this case, we're pulling the data that Flow Server had requested for KPIs and stored in MindSphere. We're pulling them back into the Op Center view. So we have a view of the current value and also the trends of the KPIs. It's perfectly reasonable to also pull in data directly from the operational side of the MindSphere equation. So here we have some indications of reactor level and product level. Again, similarly to the operational dashboard where the user can interact, it may be possible to provide functionality to allow users to, for example, for stops, to provide reason codes for those stops. So selecting a particular stop and identifying the reason code as an operator, I have the ability to update the data, which is writing data back to MindSphere to do this. A similar possibility may occur that if you want your operator to be able to adjust the portions of good and scrap counters coming off of the machine, depending on the situation you may have. So with that concludes the demonstration. We've suggested a smart factory reference model, provided a few examples of companies that are actively implementing these applications using a combination of the products from Siemens and Edge2Web, and shown a quick demonstration that I've just gone through. I'll now hand over to Luciano, who will describe the IoT implementation services used in some of the projects and also introduce Engineering USA's roadmap for the suite of smart IoT apps for asset operations and process management. Over to you, Luciano.
Perfect, thanks, Eddie. I would like to take the opportunity to present briefly engineering. Engineering is a large IT integrator with headquarters in Rome. and the size of the company is medium large. So we are 12,000 employees, $1.3 billion revenue. So inside engineering, there are several departments, and the department that is more focused on manufacturing is digital industry. And part of the digital industry, Engineering USA is the local branch for North America. So we have 13 global offices around the world, and we have in our history more than 1,000 global project delivery. So in general, for the specific manufacturing activity, we have 600 experts in the different kind of topic that are related to the digitalization and Industry 4.0. Of course, because of a local presence in multiple areas, we are typically working on global solutions that imply global rollout on multiple countries. So as you can imagine, basically engineering is selected because, of course, a good knowledge on the Siemens portfolio. And of course, because it provides the possibility to have a local resource that speak, of course, in the local language for North America, Europe. We have several offices in Europe, and South America. As you can see, we have almost 6 offices in Brazil and Argentina. Now we are opening a new office in Mexico, Monterrey, because you know Mexico is a large manufacturing area for working mainly for United States. Of course, we have an historical relationship with Siemens. We started the first activity in the beginning of 2000, and now for the IoT space, we decided to move it forward with the support of Edge2Web, especially for their IoT capability and their deep knowledge in the MindSphere platform. Okay, let's see in detail how digital industry is divided to provide the full set of services. So as you can see, digital industry is structured based on really the digital thread. We call it digital thread, the full set of activities that are needed to start from the design of a product until the utilize of a product. So designing of a product with all the Siemens suite, simulate, of course, before to put in production any kind of solution. We don't want to harm any kind of operation on the shop floor. Therefore, we would like to perform a simulation upfront in order to highlight all the advantage or all the issue that can be solved in the shop floor before even to release the solution in the plant. Produce is, of course, all the activity related to transform the idea and the design into a real manufacturing set of operations. And utilize is, of course, the monitoring of the product when the product is in the full activity at the customer side. So here we have summarized all the department of digital industry that we call the practice. So the main practice, the most historical in the United States, was the PLM practice that is specialized in team center manufacturing, and also specification for food and beverage and pharma solution that is basically formulation and product design for process industry. Our practice for simulation is instead specialized in technomatics, process simulate, and technomatics plant simulation. Then we have a practice specialized in ops center planning and scheduling. The main practice is, of course, pure execution, MOM. So we basically are expert in all the different Siemens products, starting from the execution process, package, execution for discrete, electronic, CAMSTAR, pharma, XFP, and also Op-Center Laboratory, that is Unilab. In this webinar, we are highlighting the capability of the IoT department that is able to deliver solution on MindSphere, Op-Center Intelligence, and a deep use of Edge2Web. And I would like to highlight also during this webinar what we are doing, creating a portfolio of smart application for MindSphere. As you can imagine, the IoT space need a lot of integration with other systems, with MOM, with PLM, with ERP, and with automation. So the advantage of engineering in this case is to be a good consultant for IoT, but when the IoT solution grow, of course, it's very useful to have the same expert in the other area in order to have a minimized effort to do integration. So, for example, we have a lot of requests also for connecting the Siemens portfolio to SAP, to Oracle for manufacturing, and to Microsoft Dynamics, and we use the full suite of Siemens to perform this kind of integration. Of course, I want to spend a little bit more time on the IoT part in this webinar, and I would like to give an overall architectural view of what we typically do in this kind of market. So the requests, of course, are related to perform monitoring and improve efficiency in different type of production shop floor. No? Sometimes also these production shop floor are a mix of different type of productions. For example, we find CNC machine very often. The majority of our customer has production lines, but most of the customer has also manual assembly station. And sometimes a full operation is the sequence of CNC machine, production line, and manual assembly station. How can we perform activity on such kind of different device? So first of all, we need the capability to integrate all these devices with one unique edge computer that is on site. And we can provide our experience integrating totally different machines, also in some situations are old machines. And we can provide more than 200 drivers for any kind of device. So, of course, vision systems are needed because in case of the operation that are manual, the operator is not typically willing to fill the data in the system while is doing his very important operation on the product. So the vision system allow to basically see what the operator is doing and convert this kind of visual image in data. The opposite of the visual monitoring will be the visual control. So the system will indicate to the operator what are the next phases and next operation that he has to perform. So this is a very nice extension because at this point we cover 100% of the operation in the shop floor. And the main characteristic of our app is that are MindSphere ready. We use the full capability of the KPI engine that Charlene was highlighting before. And of course, we use a unique set of dashboard on Edge2Web in order to avoid to interact with a totally different system. So with a unique set of dashboard, you can navigate from quality to maintenance to monitor OE to SPC. Any kind of things are basically governed by a unique front end. And then what is our added value? So we would like to create 7 applications that simplify the startup of the implementation of an IoT when we have a request from our customers. So we basically thought that the 7 apps are enough to cover the majority of the requirement in the IoT space. And why we called smart apps? Because we wanted to not only monitor and control, but we want also to suggest the best optimization for each kind of topic, so from the quality to the maintenance to the efficiency in terms of artificial intelligence and machine learning extension. I'm going to explain this topic in the next slide. So typically, when we create a solution in IoT space, most of the time you see an application, and an application is typically able to provide descriptive analytics. So descriptive analytics basically represent what happened at the moment or in the last days or weeks. And this is done through reporting, dashboard visualization, and also some deviation from the standard will be highlighted with alerts or the diagnostic. So most of the case, we have a big step forward compared to what the customer are doing now, because they are using typically Excel or paperwork. So this kind of app will automate a lot of activity that are carried over in a manual way. But of course, we noticed that the customer, as soon they start using the app, they perceive that the digitalization speed up all the time frames in the shop floor. So everything will be more smooth and more fast. So also the decision should be faster. And for that reason, there is now the second wave of request. The second wave is request is, can we make these apps more smart and adding additional functionality like predictive analytics. So because I have all the history of my machine, I can even predict what is going to happen when some indicators goes in a wrong value. And prescriptive analytics is even better because basically through machine learning, we can retrofit the bad situation, and the machine learning can correct the set point or can correct some behavior in order to bring back the production in control. So this is the concept, and this is the reason why we start talking about the smart app. So of course is a path. In the past, we were saying, okay, would be better first to have the control of the data. So we suggest digitalization. Now we are suggesting digitalization in order to enable the artificial intelligence and machine learning. So let's see one moment the 7 app. First of all, we want to get in control of the plant. So this app is basically creating the digital twin of our machine. During this phase, we understand all the machines that are in the plant, what are the type of machine, what are the behavior of machine, what are the input and output of each machine in terms of material, parameter, characteristic, quality, and everything. So this is the picture of your line or your machine or your plant. Smart processes is exactly what I described before with the visual camera. So basically, the problem is to avoid that repetitive production get out of control. So a video camera can check if all the operation has been performed, either in a manual environment than in an automatic environment. And smart operator is all the support to an operator to be driven by a visual system. So the system will basically write on really on the table of the assembly station all the steps that are needed to perform a certain operation and several steps in that operations. Of course, this is, as you can see, is the basic to create the basement of the digitalization. So we have all the 3 inputs that are needed to make possible VOE to work. And of course, you can imagine that now it's possible to calculate VOE for manual operation, because I can connect the smart performance to the smart operator or the smart processes. And even if these are manual stations, I can calculate properly the OE and the defects and the issue that sometimes are missing material or wrong quality in some steps for manual stations. Smart energy allow us to control the consumption of a different machine. And because we are able to integrate also the ERP, we can get the cost for the energy and therefore to calculate the KPI, trying to improve slowly all the efficiency. Smart monitoring is exactly the same for quality. So it has an embedded SPC and has, of course, corrective action and alarm management. Smart maintenance is taking advantage of everything's below. So basically, if we have a reduction of efficiency, it's better to control in terms of maintenance what happened. If we have an excess of consumption, it's the same, why the machine is consuming more. And if you have a bad quality, you have to calibrate the machine. So all of this up are, of course, can be enforced with special machine learning or artificial intelligence extension that in this case are not app, but are specific code that can be developed case by case to support our customer. So from my point of view, this is more or less the activity that we do every day with our customer. And now I hand over to Fred for the last part of this webinar.
All right, thank you, Luci. So we have some questions that have come in from a couple of different places. I think the first one, Charlene, is probably best for you. What is the process to onboard a new asset? Is it manual? How much time does it take to connect an asset, to connect a plant, and so forth?
Yeah, so basically onboarding a new asset is all through configuration. We have configuration tools to do that, to start off from kind of linking them from your shop floor. Of course, it depends on how smart your equipment is, and we might have to have edge devices installed, etc. But the process is pretty simple. It's you can literally do that. If it's just one asset, it's literally going to take you a couple of minutes to connect everything, and you start seeing data in MindSphere. And then again, it's configuration to get that information onto a screen. For example, like you saw with Eddie. Since everything is integrated with that dashboard, you'll be able to see it fairly quickly from onto the dashboard as well.
Okay. Luciano, I think this one is for you. How long can the analytics journey from descriptive to prescriptive take? Is this months, years? How long does this take a typical company to travel?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And we were discussing also about the use case internally. So now we are categorizing the different requests from different customers in different use case for analytics. So we will prepare soon a deck that say, depending on the use case, we have a different time frame for analyzing the use case implementing in the artificial intelligence engine. Normally can go between 2-3 weeks to 2 months, something like that, for an algorithm of optimization. This is more or less the time frame. Of course, if we are speaking about 20 plants and 6 algorithms of optimization, we have to do a specific evaluation for that.
All right. Eddie, I know this one is for you. In the demo, you mentioned fleet management. Can you give more details about how you handle fleet data, given that many organizations have got lots of fleets?
Yes, of course. A fleet, in simple terms, just represents a collection of assets that you wish to monitor, as opposed to attempting to build any interaction or data retrieval or even dashboarding for individual assets of the same family. For example, the 3 reactors we saw in the demo, or 50 reactors in a demo. We have introduced a particular renderer called FlexList. It is the FlexList that was in fact organizing and dropping the markers onto the Google style map, as well as dropping the reactor assets onto the picture, and also within the detailed dashboard. The way to think about it is that a fleet is nothing more than a collection of the assets. Each asset can be handed to a piece of logic in director terms that's called a flow. The flow can operate in a parallel fashion to execute the request for the data, and then to design either the same for all assets or even have different representations for different assets. It will do this all with a simple parallel execution, and then allow the display to dynamically generate for a map or for a layout on a particular floor plan or picture, as we saw in the site view, or to deliver it as a matrix or even as a table of information. The flex list allows you to take the selected child reactors in our case, and to then design a specific output for each of the child assets that you provide to the flex list.
All right. Luciano, this one is definitely for you. What's the difference between the IoT approach and the traditional SCADA to MES approach? Are there disadvantages to the IoT approach we need to consider?
No, absolutely. It's a very good question. And in most of our customers, we have both of them implemented at the same time. So IoT is more wide because it's on the cloud, and typically one IoT solution work at the same time for several plant or even several locations at the customer side simultaneously. The MES typically must be interconnected to the SCADA system for executing the operation in real time. So here we are speaking about the system should react immediately to what happened in the shop floor. So at the moment, we leave the MOM because of all this integration with PLM, ERP, and all the other third-party system as a local solution on premises. And while all the apps that are more dedicated to monitoring and optimization are instead better fit with the cloud and IoT, of course.
Okay. Charlene, I think this one is geared toward you. What happens when the connection between the plant and the cloud goes down? Do we lose data?
Right. So this is really how your architecture is done. But essentially, we're never going to be losing data, depending on how you configure your edge devices. We have store and forward mechanisms so that eventually we want to be able to make sure that we keep all this data and we have this sort of data, a subset of the data on site. And when your connection comes back up, we basically send that off to the cloud eventually.
Let's stay with you for just a moment. How can Op Center be expanded to add more traditional MES type functionalities?
Yeah, so like I was saying at the beginning, Op Center Intelligence is really the place that we add in the other traditional types of MES sort of data. And it's the place where we bring together all the information. And basically, Op Center Intelligence has capabilities to connect to our Op Center MOM portfolio, to all of those types of quality data, MES kinds of data, scheduling information. And the idea is that it brings it into a single place that it now can be exposed to places like Edge2Web, and to be able to actually be using that information to bring it all together into these apps that we're talking about with Luciano.
Okay. We've got time for one more. So Eddie, I'm going to throw this your way. Can the Edge2Web solution integrate with other systems besides MindSphere and Op Center?
Yes, it can. We have a very robust and industry standard way of interacting with external systems using the standard internet protocol called REST. So provided any environment, an SAP or a custom application or a database can be accessed via this internet protocol in a secure fashion, then we can very quickly add that to the library of connections. And in that respect, accessing any other external system looks exactly the same as accessing MindSphere or Op Center, apart from the context, the data that you're referencing. But whatever the services are provided, read or write or create within the service of an external system, director would be able to build applications that could bring that data into an explicit dashboard to reference that information, or as discussed in the demonstration, to integrate it into a dashboard that might combine information from different data sources.
All right. So that's a wrap for our Smart Factory webinar. I'd like to thank our speakers and especially all of you in the audience for the privilege of your time today. If you'd like to follow up immediately, you can grab a screenshot of this screen and contact any of us. Otherwise, contact links and other useful information will be made available with the recorded materials. To all of you out there, we look forward to working with you in the weeks and months ahead. Thank you again.